Good morning, world. How are we doing this morning? I hope we all had a great week. We got quite a few people who've commented already. Good morning, Pippadot. Mr. Garlic Man, I can be a moderator for you if you need one. I appreciate the offer, Mr. Garlic Man, but I have an adequate amount of moderators that are in the group now. But I do appreciate it. The offer, though. I am doing fine, Mr. Garlic Man. And good morning to Pippadot, Callie Lisa, Half Rudder. Good morning, Half Rudder. How are you doing? I hope you've been doing well. But Pippadot, I want to give you a shout out and thank you for your comment on Lamont's last video that he put out, where he was walking along the dike there, I think in New Orleans, about the controversy that has hit his channel lately. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. I never heard him say any of that stuff, nor did he mean anything about someone's copyrighted. I don't know how you copyright an image of a headstone. I don't understand that one at all. And I would love to see an attorney actually look at that, because to me, as far as I know, you can't copyright something that's in the public domain. But who am I, right? But anyways, thank you for that comment, though. What to talk about today? Today is page 2 news. On page 2 news, Mr. Garlic Man, I go over the underreported news stories, true crime stories that are out there in the United States. Maybe they don't have the sensationalism, or the shock and awe that other true crime channels may, talk about or present, and make up, facts, what they call facts about. So those underreported stories, or stories that are missed by mainstream media. Maybe they skimmed over and they hit just the headline, shock and awe a little bit, but they didn't do a deep dive into. That's what page 2 news is all about. So we'll get into it in a little bit here. We'll give a couple minutes for people to, for people to get in here, get their notifications, show up. The other guy's unhinged. Yeah, I'm oblivious to the total controversy, and all of it, but I have seen a lot of the negative comments that have been flying Lamont's way, and half of them, well, I should probably say better than 70% of them, the ones that I've read, have been. I don't think these people have ever watched anything that Lamont has to say, or any of his channels, at all. On the Run, At Large, Big Bigelow. I don't think they've watched any of his content. Yeah, he does some things, that are a little on the edge, clickbaiting, and maybe he does a little bit of controversy here and there. But hey, who isn't and who doesn't do it? Everybody I know, from the small channel to the large channel, you got to kind of catch the eyes of people. So I don't fault Lamont for that at all. But it definitely seen some of the comments that have truly been thrown his way. It's just like, unremarkably, cruel. And it's like, okay, I never heard Lamont say that. Even when he does cross that, get close to that line, he never crosses the line. But when he gets up to it, I've never heard him say anything even remotely, close to what the other person, said he has done. He's twisting his words for his own views and for his own purposes. Good morning, Gayla and Reichardt. Good morning. What happened to Lamont? Well, another creator kind of, went in on him about something that was blown completely out of proportion. and they rallied their viewers and subscribers to go after Lamont for no reason at all. It's controversy for just for the sake of of getting views. That's what the other person is doing. You can't believe that Christopher Watts believes that he'll ever get out of prison, says Mr. Garlic Man. Well, you have to believe half of the story when it comes to Christopher Watts. Mr. Garlic Man, Christopher Watts believes that he's going to get out of prison to keep people writing him, putting money on his commissary account, and sending him gifts. He's got to keep that story out there. This hope is alive. Hope is alive. Hope is alive. I'm going to get out someday. And he keeps on feeding that story to people, so they keep on. They can, he may get out someday. I'll help him in the short term. I'll put $50 on his commissary account. I'll send him a book or writing paper or whatever. You're eligible to send to him. He has restrictions on what you can send. You can't send him like a hacksaw blades and a cell phone. But but there are restrictions. But he keeps that story going, and at the same time, I'm sure Christopher Watts, delusional and as sick in that damn head as he is, he probably believes to some extent himself that there's at least there's some hope. Hope for when it comes to a prisoner getting out, even if they've been sentenced to 3 or 4, 12 life terms, for the crimes that they've done. Not Christopher Watts. I mean, he's got 3 natural life terms plus, but they have to have hope. Otherwise, why the hell even try? Just off yourself, or have somebody else kill you, in prison. And there's lots of ways to make that happen. But you got to have some kind of hope for the average prisoner, not for Christopher Watts. Good morning, guys. I will just be listening because I have to start preparing before I begin my driving. I'm in Tennessee, west of Nashville, and it's raining right now. Temps are nice. Wow. Safe travels to you, Reichardt. And we'll get this going here in just a minute. Unfound 100% Lamont is true form again. I can personally attest to is real like you. He's actually a kind soul. He is. I don't know Lamont personally, but I do know some people who have personally known him for quite a few years. So I can only go with how they see him and how they've interacted with him. And I wouldn't follow his content and his channels if I believed anything differently. Good morning, Kevin, all the way from South Carolina. In today's Page 2 News, we are coming right to your back door in South Carolina. Sick of the Griff got off after killing his mother. He also killed his dad. Yes, half rudder. Colin Griffith. I covered him last week after the verdict came down. You might want to watch last week's live stream Saturday morning on that. And trivia night was about it as well. Ivory Lady, good morning. Ridiculous. People are doing a life sentence and are going to college for free of taxpayers' money, and they are never getting out. To an extent, Mr. Garlic Man. Not all institutions, and when it comes down to it, I think it's only about 10% of all state prison systems in America have any type of education that is like a college degree or a trade school where the taxpayers pay for it. A lot of the programs that are still offered in prisons are there because a nonprofit has brought the curriculum, the supplies and stuff into the prison itself. Taxpayers don't actually foot the bill. But again, that's better than about 90%, 10%. The states still 100% pay for it. Likewise, at the same time, inmates who are in the state prison system if they are getting, have a life term and they are never getting out, no chance of ever getting out, they offer the programs to those who will be paroled eventually first. And then if there's leftover spaces in the classes, and that's only then do they allow, life termers, people who will never get out to have a spot in the class just to fill the class and to give them something where they don't have idle time on their hands. So they, will get into trouble or commit more crimes behind bars. You have to give them something. Just locking them up in and throwing away the key is one thing. We want to do that as society. Say, look, for your crimes, you should have nothing. Give you bread and water, and good luck surviving. But again, 76% of all inmates in the state prison systems do eventually get out. 76%. You make them, abuse them, and give them unusual and cruel punishment while behind bar, you're going to make more of a monster once they are eventually released. So, yes, I understand, your aversion to wanting to pay with your tax dollars for someone to get a trade school or a higher education degree while behind bars. I understand that. It feels like a waste of time and a waste of money. But at the same time, though, you have to understand that it does, do a benefit, even if they're never getting out. Idle hands need something to do. Otherwise, they're going to think of other ways, other things, ways to hurt others inside the jail, or scheming, or crimes, or something else. So, all right, let's get page 2 going, and I'll get back to the comments as I can here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry for the delay there. And good morning, Francie. Are prisoners, inmates, still trying to get us to pay for their gender changes? Oh, wow. Isn't that a nice little hot button issue that a lot of people want to throw out there, that someone who is a transsexual wants their reassignment surgery paid for by the taxpayers? I know of probably 2 cases in the United States total, right, Card, where someone has asked that and has petitioned the state to continue their transgender surgery, but it's a hot button ticket, subject on one side of the political spectrum over another, and I'm not going to get into, is it right or is it wrong for taxpayers or for anyone to pay for it, or for an individual to to actually go there. And that's as far as I'm going to say on that. But I only know, again, of 2 in the entire United States, and of course they make it sound like there's a whole bunch of them out there. All right, page 2 news. Page 2 news highlights true crime stories that are often overlooked and underreported by mainstream media. These cases, while lacking sensational headlines, carry significant importance and profound impact within their communities. Each story featured on page 2 news is supported by at least 3 verified sources, ensuring the most accurate and reliable information. Thank you for joining us, and enjoy today's page 2 news. After several months of extensive testing and format, the format you see today closely reflects the final, polished version of page 2 news. Moving forward, the previous clutter and the inclusion of 10 to 15 stories have been streamlined. Instead, each week I will feature more on presentation covering 1 or 2 stories only. Rest assured, not everything is changing. Serial Killer Corner is staying, and so is entertainment news, along with fake news, fake or real news. First one off the bat, the wanted felon who was on the run for 2.5 weeks has been captured. John Matthew Nye, age 37, white male, has been captured. He surrendered peacefully and has been taken back into custody. He is looking at a total of 11 additional charges, plus if they charge him with everything. 3 of those 11 charges are federal charges if they decide to charge him with them. If they right now, Otherwise, he will do all of his state time, and he is, a murder. He is on trial for murder. Should I say? He hasn't been convicted of it yet. Weapons charges, drug charges, all of that together at the state level. What the federal government may do is hold off on filing their 3 federal charges until he is done with his state time. And then the day that he is released from the state, he will be arrested by the federal authorities to stand trial for his federal crimes, which all they have to do is just announce that they're going to do it. They don't even have to, they have to legally file the charges until they can do it 30 years from now. They just have to announce today or sometime, while he's still doing it, we're going to file federal charges against him once he's released from state, custody. But he has been captured. Today, all of page 2 news is on Susan Smith and how David Smith has tried to forgive her. Susan Smith. David Smith, former husband of Susan Smith, mother who killed their children in 1994, has broken his silence. Susan Smith's ex-husband recalls her chilling confessions. "I'm sorry, David." Vividly remembers the moment his ex-wife Susan Smith admitted to drowning their 2 young sons in 1994. She said the following to him, looking at him in his eyes, and calmly and casually just said, "I'm sorry." Reflecting on her admission, David shared, if he had committed such a crime, he would have sought forgiveness. I asked her, "Why did you do this? Why?" And she said, "I don't know why, but I'm sorry." On October 25th, 1994, Susan Smith, then aged 23, told police that a black man had carjacked her vehicle with her 2 sons in the car seats. Michael was age 3, and her other son, Alex, was 14 months. Were still inside. For 9 agonizing days, she made emotional pleas on national television, begging for her return. You can find the videos of her of those 9 days, sobbing, uncontrollably and being consoled by David and other family members for begging for the return of her 2 sons, Michael, age 3, and Alex, age 14 months. And over again, begging and begging and begging for just a safe return, no questions asked. And the manhunt that instilled and the pandemonium and unfortunately racist attacks that happened on young black men under the age of 25 was extreme. The law enforcement rounded up any African American man that they found walking, and that may have had anything to do with this. There was, some civil rights violations where the county and the state settled out of court for the things that they did because they were trying to solve it. They said over and over again, but the hysteria that she brought through to the community. However, as inconsistencies in her story emerged, Susan ultimately confessed that no carjacking ever existed. Instead, she allowed her car to roll into the lake with her children strapped in their car seats. Investigators later revealed that she had committed murders because she was involved with a married man who did not want children. The case garnered international attention. Susan was convicted of 2 counts of murder and sentenced to life in prison. She is currently incarcerated in Leith Correctional Institute in Greenwood, South Carolina. In November of 2024, after serving 30 years, she was denied parole. During her hearing, Susan expressed remorse, stating, "I know what I did was horrible. I'm a Christian, and God is a big part of my life. I know He has forgiven me, and I know that by His grace and mercy. I just ask that you show the same kind of mercy as well." End quote. Oop, I clicked that too many times. Did you know Susan Smith hasn't exactly been a model inmate? She has had several issues with staff and counselors while she has been at the prison over the course of the 30 years that she's been incarcerated. In the 30 years that Susan Smith has been incarcerated, she has had a total of 27 write ups. They did not get to the point of criminal charges, but the 27 write ups for everything from contraband to illegal possession of items that an inmate was not allowed to have. They were write ups. They never got to the point of actual a criminal charge, but 27 write ups in 30 years. Doesn't sound like a model inmate to me. We should parole her. David Smith's response: she will never be rehabilitated. Leading up to the parole hearing, David Smith spoke to Today's Show, making it clear that he did not believe Susan should be released. I don't think she'll ever be rehabilitated, he stated. Even to me, she's never been truly sorry for what she did. During the interview with Dateline, David also expressed why he wished Susan had been sentenced to death instead of life in prison. For myself, yes, because I wouldn't have to deal with what's coming up as it was prior to the parole hearing. He admitted, I know they said she had a tough life growing up, and I've never made light of that. But you don't kill your children because of your past. I want an eye for an eye, but the jury saw it differently. End quote. Despite his pain, David has found a way to extend forgiveness, saying in 2024, after the parole hearing, yes, I have forgiven her, but that's because of my faith in God and how I was raised. We are taught to forgive, but that doesn't take away what she did. It doesn't make it any easier. Did you know Susan Smith has been corresponding with several men on the outside? One puts money on her inmate account monthly and has visited her dozens of times. However, she isn't committed to this person, nor has she told this person of the relationship she has with others. This is a common prison scam where an inmate will make you believe that you are corresponding with just them and you're the only person they're writing to. They will tell you that they love you or that they care about you to keep you leading you on to get you to give them something. And all the while, there's 10, 15, 30, 100 other individuals that are doing the same thing too. They may even be sending the same letter that they write to you or saying the same things on phone calls or video conference calls, the CCTV system, if they have it, and doing the same thing. And then right after they get done with one person or you in particular, they are doing it to another and another and another and another. And it's a common prison scam. You know, these correspondence of love and devotion. And Susan Smith has been doing it with at least two men. That's pictures of both of her children. It's Michael in the blue sitting in the rocking chair, and his brother Alex, 14 months, on his lap. The picture to the left is what she looked like the day that she was arrested, and on the right is what she looked like just prior to the parole hearing. Comment Susan made to fellow inmates and staff. This is prior to her actual parole hearing this past in 2024. They will let me go. I've been here too long. Additionally, on CCTV, this is a closed caption video system for security, she was caught saying the following: forgiveness is for after I'm dead. I've got things to do. My sugar daddy isn't going to wait forever. I need to get out to keep the honey flowing. She is sitting at a table where this actual conversation happened, and she is talking to two other women at a round table that seats, I think, 5. but it's outdoors in like a recreation area where there's like three sets of tables and it's all concreted and metal. But she's sitting there and she had to have known she was being recorded, but she didn't think that they were going to give this conversation in video over to the parole board. Prior to her most recent parole hearing, the parole board was informed of her conduct in prison, along with the comments made to other inmates and staff. And if she had taken part in any of the victims panels in the past, which they encouraged her the last time she came up for parole to take part in, but they cannot, under the state law of South Carolina, make her actually, participate in. They want her and asked her to take part in a victims panel, but she has refused to do so far. And after 30 years, I highly doubt she's ever going to do it. The picture all the way to the left is of the lake and the memorial that has been placed there for her sons. And that is what you see, like it looks like a white strip going to the water strip there. That is the boat launch area where she parked her car at the top of it, put it in neutral, and then pushed her sons strapped in their car seats into the water. Just imagine the last seconds of their lives as they saw mommy step away from the car and the car rolling into the water as the water filled up the car. What their last thoughts were. How cruel could any one individual be to do something like that just because you're involved with a married man who didn't want children? The picture direct middle top is of the actual lake itself when they were doing when they sent divers in and who would hook the tow chain to the actual car. Bottom middle is again a picture of the memorial on the anniversary. Top right is of a cross that was placed there. The cross is now gone, but it was placed there by a youth group and a pastor. But the state has pretty much removed all other memorial things there, except for the plaque, the two posts with the picture of the children, and along with a plaque that commemorates the date and the time and what happened there. And the bottom is a picture of what Susan Smith looked like when she was actually arrested and the court case had started. So time for you to tell the world, how do you feel? Do you think Susan Smith is truly remorseful for what she did? Yes? No? Maybe a little? Or no opinion either way? Do you think that Susan Smith is remorseful at all for what she did? Well, thank you for the super chat, Pippadot. I appreciate that. I really do. It truly helps keep this channel going. Thank you very much. Broken Justice, good morning. And happy birthday, Cheryl. Do you think Susan Smith is truly remorseful for what she did? Personally, my own opinion. Now, first, I'm basing my opinion on the fact that Susan Smith has absolutely refused to sit down and speak with counselors who were trying to determine if she suffered from anything more than postpartum depression or if she had PTSD. That's all she has ever wanted them to determine. Can you give me some nice drugs to help me, ease my day so I can sell them to other inmates? But that she has never sat down with a psychotherapist or psychologist or any other type of professional to determine if she is a sociopath or if she suffers from any other delusional issues besides, she's got to be somewhat crazy, right, to do what she did. So again, do I think that Susan Smith is remorseful? I don't think she is. I think the only remorse that she has is that she was caught and she couldn't keep the lie going any longer. I don't think she cares about her. She cares about what happened to her children after that day or before then. And I don't think she cared about David or the rest of the community or the family and friends that were, whose lives were turned upside down that day and every day since then. David might be able to find with, his faith in God a way to forgive her, but David will never forget the day that his life pretty much ended right alongside of his kids. It has taken him 30 years to try to put some sort of resemblance of a normal life back together because of her actions that day. And for what it's worth, they were premeditated. Susan Smith had admitted that she knew where this lake was, this body of water was, and the access, and had thought about it prior to actually doing it that day. It was a premeditated act. But I don't believe that she's remorseful at all. Well, thank you for the super chat, Half Rudder. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Helping keep this channel alive. It's nice to be back. It's nice to see you again too. And I hope to see you again soon. Harmless little self-promotion, I don't have anything to, a product to push you to, to tell you, hey, why don't you try this vitamin, powdered extract, help you live longer and have more energy. Yeah, I don't have anything like that to push, nor do I have any affiliate links. If you want to, you can, of course, completely optional to support my channel. You can make a donation by the link that's on the screen. Serial Killer Corner. You will die to get away. News from around the world regarding the investigations into serial killer. This week we've got Herb Brummeister. Hamilton County Coroner Jeff Gillison has identified, using new DNA technology, the 10,000 human bones and fragments found on the Brummeister's 18-acre farm, many of which were burned and crushed. From the time that he was arrested to now, this past week, they have been working on it nonstop, and it has taken them all this time. 10,000 pieces of bone and bone fragments is what they've been investigating to put them all together, the pieces of the puzzle. Herb Brummeister seemed to live a quiet family life in a wealthy suburb of Indianapolis, Indiana. He shared a $1 million estate in Westfield, dubbed the Fox Hollow Farms, with his wife and 3 kids, and owning a string of successful thrift stores. However, authorities said that during the 1990s, he lived a double life, targeting gay men at nightclubs and luring them back to his home, where he killed and buried them around his sprawling estate. He is believed to be one of the most prolific serial killers in Indiana history. His life and prolific crimes are now the subject of a 4-part series, The Fox Hollow Murders, Playground of a Serial Killer, produced by One Traveler and All 3 Media for ABC News Studios. And this will be premiering on February 18th. So in 3 days from now on Hulu. If you have Hulu, you can watch the 4-part series, The Fox Hollow Murders, the playground of a serial killer, about Herb Brummeister and his crimes, and get a better understanding about it. And this will not ever be on Netflix. It will not ever be on. You might be able to find someone who will illegally copy it and put it on YouTube eventually. But it is a Hulu exclusive, and Hulu exclusives never make it onto Netflix or anywhere else. They never sell that content. So if you have Hulu, you're going to get it, but you'll never see it on Netflix or anywhere else unless somebody makes an illegal copy of it. Entertainment news. News stories from Hollywood and music, movies, books, and more. Stories that the stars wish didn't happen. Stories they wish we would also forget. Their oops moments for everyone to enjoy. Kadarius Toney. Maybe the name is familiar with you if you follow football, the NFL at all. Kadarius Toney was arrested this past week for domestic violence after he strangled a woman. She hasn't been identified, and he also threatened her. Such promise he had. He was drafted in the first round by the New York Giants, and then traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, where he would eventually win the 2 Super Bowls with them. Kadarius Toney was then put on waivers. He was then sat around. He was picked up by the Cleveland Browns for about a week and a half, and they didn't have a place for him to play on wide receivers, so they put him on punt returns. And the one and only punt that he got kicked to him, he fumbled it and turned it over, and then was immediately cut right after the game. He is now without an actual team or a contract or anything, but his life started off making it to the NFL is a 1 in a million, chance to make it to the NFL in the first place. And then the millions of dollars that come along with that, he's pissed it all away. And at this point, he is such a hot topic, and his past off the field and on the field is so much that no team wants to touch him, and rightfully so. So for this domestic violence arrest that he had, they won't say, and they haven't said the name of the lady that he choked or what their relationship was, other than he had choked her, and they found petechial hemorrhaging in her eyes from being choked by him, and she had other bruises on her body from him, and that he had threatened to not only kill her but kill her family if she said anything to anybody at all. Thankfully, she had the courage to go forward and actually press charges to put an end to this. And there is a chance, because he has had at least 4 known concussions in the NFL. The first one was with the New York Giants, and 3 more with the Kansas City Chiefs. He very well may have CTE, and he might want to look into getting tested for that. But a lot of players don't want to, because there is no cure for CTE. Now, fake or real news. Your job is to spot the real news story. I will present you with 3 stories. Only one of them is real. Answer either A, B, or C, whichever one you believe is the real story. And again, you don't need to tell me which one is fake. All you have to do is tell me which story is real, A, B, or C. Story A joke petition signed by over 200,000 people who checked a box saying that they were Republicans and were willing to pony up between $2,000 and $38,000 and to help Denmark buy the state of California. 13 million people shared this story. 29 million more retweeted it or liked it. And 39 people in the comment section said that they would take out either a second or a third mortgage on their home to come up with the money to help the country of Denmark buy the state of California. Is this the real story, or is this one of the fake ones? Story B is the GoFundMe account has been shut down, which was a fundraiser that raised over $181,000 to buy chunks of an iceberg and ship them to the Dominican Republic. In the actual description of the GoFundMe, it said this was going to help reverse global warming by making a warm spot on the earth cold. Is this the real story, or is this one of the fake stories? Story C. A group of Facebook and Reddit that has since gone dark put out the idea that the U.S. could simply overthrow the nation of Greenland and change the name with an executive order, changing the nation to Trump Land USA. Had over 8 million followers. It's unclear if Facebook and Reddit shut them down or if they closed up shop themselves. One of these stories is real. The other two are fake. Which one is real? I will give you a couple of minutes to think about the choices and so for you to determine which one is real. Again, two of them are fake and only one of them is real. Again, each and every one of these stories is a minimum of 100,000 times it's been shared online and over 10,000 likes and upvotes. Good morning, Cement Shoes. The wrestler, Chris Benoit, they've totally scrubbed him from the entire history of the wrestling for what he did. All of his records, all of his matches have all been changed from, all of his wins have been changed to the other person. They've completely removed him from history. I can understand you don't like what the hell he did in the end, but one of these stories is real. A, B, or C. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the real story this week is story number 1. The petition signed by over 200,000 people who said that they would offer up between $2,000 and $38,000 to help the country of Denmark buy the state of California. And additionally, 39 people said that they would mortgage their homes or take out a second home mortgage to help buy the state of California for Denmark. Is that because California has become a what the media likes to portray as a cesspool, or is it more that if they buy the state of California and give it to the state of Denmark, is that like in case somebody else wants it, let's just sell them parts of our country. Why not sell, the Alaskan territory, next and sell off, the part of the country that used to belong to Mexico? Why don't we just sell all that? But 200,000 people signed the petition, and it's fake. You can click on the link there and read the Associated Press article about it, more about it. But 200,000 people who said that the options were Republican, Democrat, or Independent. And or other. Those were your 4 choices, and the 200,000 were only looking at the ones who signed it and digitally and said that they were Republican and that they wanted to sell the state of California to the country of Denmark. It was all a joke, but and the people who put it up never thought that anybody would click on it and actually say that not only we should sell California to Denmark. That's a bad enough joke in itself. But then, they down the actual petition itself said that they would give money and they would raise money to help, sell, the state of California to the country of Denmark. Tomorrow night's trivia is Summer Wells. Where is she? Where has Summer Wells gone? Is tomorrow night's trivia. I didn't want to click that yet. I need to close this other thing first. There we go. Chris Benoit. Yeah. In case you guys are not familiar, I should have said this, but Chris Benoit was a wrestler, and he had CTE, which is a traumatic. It's a damage to the brain from concussions and prolonged jarring of the brain against the skull. It's inoperable. You can't fix it with operations. You can't fix it with drugs. You can't do anything with it. But Chris Benoit was he planned on killing himself long before he actually did anything else. But he ended up killing his entire family, his wife and his kid, and then took his own life. And the World Wrestling Federation and all the other organizations before him coming up, to the professional ranks, the minors, and everything else, they scrubbed his name from the history books completely. He is not the only one. Another well-known football player who had CTE was Junior Seau. He has CTE, but there have been others, professional football players, basketball players that have been found with CTE, and it can do some pretty horrific things. Like later on in life, they believe that CTE is what may exacerbated the Parkinson's of some boxers, particularly Sting Lakabi, Muhammad. What I've done is drawing a blank on a picture of his face, but Sugar Ray Leonard has a mild form of CTE. There've been a whole lot of people who've had it. Still can't believe the parents got away with Summer's murder. We don't know. I mean, there's definitely, a lot of things happened in the Summer Wells disappearance that raise a lot of questions about what happened. Why did law enforcement, when they showed up that day, have a one-track investigation? They singled in on one theory and one theory only, ignoring a lot of things and going after it. And while at the same time, a lot of people in the mainstream media and in places like here on YouTube have speculated and made up a lot of things that are just not true. Best thing to do is Meep is to tune in tomorrow for trivia night. You might learn something about it, or if nothing else, join in the conversation about it. Aaron Hernandez, he was just a thug. Man, can you imagine that though? All the people in the New England Patriots locker room thought that he was a pretend thug and that he wanted to be a gangster. Man, we find out later on the man was he was a cold calculated killer. Aaron Hernandez, tight end for the New England Patriots, Super Bowl. I think he won a Super Bowl with them, didn't he? If not, he definitely won some playoffs games before, everything came down. You're here in the background, Interpeas. I hope you had a great week, Interpeas. But that was the the page 2 news, and I hope everyone liked it. Episode 243. That's the last of the different tests of the different formats. Last week you'll notice that everything was instead of me being in my little window, I was about 40% to 60% on the screen. And some of the background colors have changed and fonts themselves have changed. It's all to see, where the how long people are paying attention, how long they're interacting with the content, comments, and I'm looking at the chart here now. For the total amount of time that it takes, if I just speed read everything and didn't comment, or say hello to anybody, how long it takes people just to, to click off or just stop paying attention. Trying to, make it interesting for everybody. Can't please everyone. Well, thank you, Reichardt. I hope that you have a successful trip wherever you're going from Tennessee. Muhammad Ali, remember back when he was Cassius Clay? What was it? Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. The rumble in the jungle. He's the one I was thinking of that had Parkinson's, but they believe the CTE exacerbated his Parkinson's. My great grandmother had Parkinson's, but I didn't know what it was until I was an adult. Didn't know. I mean, we all knew that great grandma had the shakes, but I didn't. Nobody knew that it was Parkinson's. At least none of us kids. We just knew that great grandma had the shakes. So we always called her grandma. I don't know why. That's why if you hear me stumbling over that, I always want to say grandma, even though she wasn't. She was my mother's mom. So my great grandmother. Lexi. Good morning, Lexi. I'll hang in there, Lexi. I hope you will as well. I hope you've been doing well, Lexi. Better check the trailer for dead bodies coming out of Tennessee. Are there dead bodies in trailers? And Reichardt wouldn't have to check the trailer because Reichardt only hauls using a flatbed. At least that's what I remember Reichardt saying. Flatbed only. Okay. You hate the Tennessee cases? What's up for today, Pippadot? Trying not to freeze. We got absolutely pummeled with snow. It has been 17 years since we've had this much snow, and we got it all within about a 40-hour period. That's it. I mean, I'm going to be working here in my studio. I've got a couple of videos that I'm working on, and I want to finish up that. I don't know where I'm going to put yet. I don't know if they're going to be on 411 now, or if I'm going to put them on CDXI now, or where I'm going to put them. But I stumbled across this data from very reliable sources, and it kind of fits on this channel, but it kind of doesn't at the same time. And trying to determine right now, as I've been going through it and editing the video, where would it fit the best? Oh, record temps there, Will. Right now it's 20 degrees. 2 days ago it was we are down in the single digit, which is not uncommon for us. This is always the coldest time of the year for us. But this storm, the snowstorm we got, though, that's uncommon. If you read my community post here on YouTube, Normally if we get like any precipitation at all, people just lose their damn minds. If it's rain or if it's snow or whatever it might be, people lose their minds. First, they start panic buying, and then they line up like the other day. They have two cars deep on a side street, just waiting to get into Les Schwab to buy tire chains and studded tires and everything else. It's most bizarre thing in the world. The week before, all you could see technicians are standing out in the parking lot throwing the football around. That's how bored they were, at Les Schwab to put on tires. Now, if they were open 24 hours a day, they couldn't keep up. And the snow will all be gone in probably 3 days. And then all those people are going to end up with those snow chains and studded tires. And then they'll be back in again in a week to have the tires taken off and put all season radials on. And every year it's like clockwork. If anything like this ever happens, you get a quarter of an inch of snow, people just lose their minds. There's a lot of transplants from places where people have never seen snow. So, nor do they know how to drive in it. It is misty out where you are. Meet. Does that mean it's gonna rain? And Pippadot is from Texas. You so love Texas and the food. I'm in California. Going to be 67 today, and I'm taking my dog to the beach today. Oh, I want to go to the beach. I want it to be 67. I'm just so tired of the cold. But like a month from now, I'll be like, I could use it cool. If it was cooler. In the summertime here, I mean, triple digits. That's pretty common. I mean, you get 110, 115 degrees in the summertime here. Because I live in an area that's called a high desert plateau. We have some cactus plants, but you don't get like the big saguaro, cactuses like you'll see in California and Texas and other places, New Mexico, Arizona. We don't get those big cactus. We get low ground cacti. But otherwise, we have sagebrush, flat ground as far as you can see. There's nothing here. You won't see trees unless you are near a river. So, Will, stuck in the snow. No, I'm not stuck in the snow. Born and raised in Wisconsin, I got backups to backups to backups for all weather and all situations. That lose the power in my house, I got solar. If the solar don't work and the sun stopped working, I've got, a generator. The only thing I can't fix whenever it goes out is the internet. I can't fix that. But I can, if long as like the satellite doesn't blow up, I can tether my cell phone to my computer to actually get online. But unfortunately, that costs a lot because I don't have unlimited internet service on my phone. And once you go over that plan, they throttle your speed, greatly. So if in order to I can pay for a yearly unlimited internet plan, but that's still not unlimited per usage. So where you can just plug it into your computer and go forever. Do people in your state have backup generators for power outages? Some people do. Some people don't. It's just like anywhere else, Francie. I know people who live in Minneapolis or live in the suburbs of Minneapolis where, you need a backup in the wintertime, in case the power goes out, who have no backups at all. They just deal with it. Some people here do, some people don't. I just believe in being prepared for everything. Some people look at me and they say, well, you overdo it. There's no reason for that. I mean, it's kind of like, I have a fully stocked pantry. of food. I've got a month's worth of supply of food for everyone in my house, plus water for everyone for a month. I keep a bug out bag near my front door. I'm not a prepper by any means. I'm not stockpiling ammunition or guns or anything. So don't come after me, ATF. Um, nothing to see here. But I'm not a prepper by any means. But I mean, I believe in being prepared for anything. You never know. Tomorrow, my house could catch on fire tomorrow and burn to the ground. I have a backup for in case something like that happens. Natural disasters, they don't happen here. We don't get earthquakes. We don't get floods because we're in a high plateau. You have to go down, to even get to the river, and it would have to like triple in size before it even got halfway up, the hill. But I'm prepared. Again, the only thing I can't fix is the internet. So if we have like a solar flare that knocks out all credit cards and everything else and the internet, I'll find a way to survive. Everyone should be prepared. You're right, Lexi. Your sister-in-law is a prepper. I did. I hope you got to spend some time with your hubby, Gayla. Me and my wife went to dinner yesterday, Valentine's Day. Got to sit around and talk and just catch up and remember what it was like the years before we had kids. We wouldn't trade our kids for anything, but oh, it was nice just to be able to relax and not have to worry about one taking off running that way and the other one bringing up some kind of conversation that is just like that makes you feel uneasy. Just the two of us. Well, it was nice. It was nice, and I hope everybody else got to do something. I just read a very interesting conversation thing about this. So that's Bob Valentine's Day. You have to hear this out. So I read an article that was on the Associated Press about AI and those who use AI and virtual reality boyfriends and girlfriends through AI. 25% of those under the age of 30 have said that they have interacted or believe that an AI relationship is more beneficial than human interaction. 25%. I'm sitting there reading that and I'm like, no wonder why it feels like this world is doomed. If you can't even get people to realize that you're talking to an artificial, intelligence, a computer system, and you think that that might be more beneficial than speaking or being in a relationship with another human being. No wonder why it feels like this world is doomed. That has never happened to any other generation where people believed, you know what, a computer in being in a relationship with a fake person or a fake bot or something on a computer is more beneficial than being in a relationship with an actual human being. 25% under the age of 30 who have interacted. That's not 25% of all people under the age of 30. 25% of only those who have. I will survive. I had to be out on the highway yesterday for Valentine's Day. I will make it up to my wife. There you go. I know some people who had to work yesterday. My friend had to go out of town to pick up a customer's car that they had in their shop for, I don't know, 6 months. I think it was. They had over 400 hours into the damn thing. and the guy was out of town on he took it for a cruise and it died. So they had to go like 70 some miles outside of town to go get it, almost to another major town. But then they had to go put it on the trailer and bring it all the way back and get it into the shop. And they didn't know, couldn't figure out on the roadside what the hell happened, why it died. The guy, I guess the customer was just driving along and it just died. But over 400 hours into that car. It's a custom, what do they call it, like a resto mod. It was like a 60s Nova, but it's a 60s Nova on the outside, but it has like a Chevy S10 like frame. I've seen it from the ground up being built. I just never paid that close attention to it. AI will make people lazy. Oh, I've learned my lesson. I'll never use AI voice work ever again. The backlash that I got from it ain't worth it. Ain't worth it at all. But over 80% of those who are in true crime or YouTube creators in general use some form of AI. They just don't tell you. They use it either for thumbnail creation, editing, script writing, or some variation. They use artificial intelligence for all of it or part of it. There are channels right now where the creator that you see on the screen has not been in their studio in front of a camera in over a year. But you're seeing clips where they can change the background and they can change the outfit on the person with the AI now. And it looks like you're sitting there talking, like I am right now looking at you. And it's 100% AI. And all they got to do is just, AI scrubs the internet, like Chat GTP, or whatever it is. It scrubs it for top stories. And it talks. And it looks like the person's talking, but it's not them. How do I fight against that? I don't. I just stay in my own lane. Stay in my own lane and do my own thing. I will be me. Every time your sister goes shopping, she buys something for her prepper area. Yeah, I don't have like a safe room or anything like that in my house. Don't have a storm shelter. This is probably, well, since I moved to Washington State, that kind of like freaked me the heck out. No one here had, like a storm shelter. Back home, everybody you have a storm shelter, and everyone knows how to get into it and where it's at. But not here. We don't get tornadoes. Heck, if we get an inch of rain where I live, in like the summertime, that is a blessing. And this is why they built all of the infrastructure that is here for a reason, because nothing ever happens here weather-wise. But this is, this snow that we got, very unusual. Very unusual. Kit Boggs channel uses AI to mess with scammers. I'm not familiar with that channel. What does is it Kit Boga? Calvin Lisa? How do you pronounce that? And what is it about? What do they do on their channel? Maybe I'd be interested in checking it out later today. Because this is what I'm going to be doing. After this live stream, I'm going to work on the editing of the 2 videos, and then I have the rest of the day free. Because I certainly ain't golfing with 4.5 inches of snow outside. I'm willing to check out anything, because normally, when I have free time, I'm going to go through my subscriber list today, and I'm going to check to see if any of my subscribers have put out new content. Not people, not channels that I subscribe to, by myself that I'm interested in content. I go through my actual subscribers and I look, oh, look, this channel, subscribed. I click on it. Do they have any videos? Have they released any videos in the last 6 months? I do that all the time. And if I like their content, I watch it, give them a thumbs up, leave them a comment. And if I think that, there's something of interest in it, I write their name of their channel down, and then I tell people in a forum through TubeBuddy. There are a bunch of people who use TubeBuddy. It's like an editing analytics program. But there's a Facebook group, and I tell them about it. And like, hey, man, this isn't my channel, but check this channel out. And I give them the link. He calls scammers and frustrates them. Oh, okay. Keep them on the phone for longer and to prevent them from scamming others. I've seen some channels like that before. There was one guy who was what they called an ethical hacker, who he's now doing something like that on YouTube, but he was what they called an ethical hacker. He would attack people when people got attacked and scammed. He would go then attack and scam the other ones, but then he got into a kind of a gray area with that. But now he does YouTube, but he kind of like that along that lines, where he calls he keeps these call centers in India on the line, because if they're busy trying to figure out how to scam him, they're not scamming other people. Yeah, hit that like button if you enjoyed this content. If you don't, if you thought that I was boring and that it was wasn't worth your time to be here, hit the thumbs down button. Let me know. Leave a comment if you're watching this afterwards. After the live stream. I've been watching Meghan and Harry, My Dirty Little Secret. Should be ashamed of yourself. Meghan and Harry, the prince and his. So what if it's the prince? Would she be the princess, right? The royal couple. I don't think that's a dirty little secret that they'd be hiding. I find the royal family interesting a little bit. I wouldn't say that I would be going out, seeking their content, but I have watched, some of the things. Give you an example. Something I learned last week about Queen Elizabeth is that Queen Elizabeth, I never knew, had corgis her entire life. She was a big fan of the corgi dog. Now, my daughter's name is Elizabeth, so I walked up to her when she was in the kitchen, and this was about a week ago, and after I learned it, and then I'm sitting there, I'm trying to think to myself, we used to call my daughter Queen Elizabeth, and I asked her, I said, hey, are you reincarnated? And she just gave me this puzzled look like, Dad, what the hell are you talking about? Because my daughter is a huge fan of corgis as well. Of course, my daughter's a hell of a lot taller than Queen Elizabeth was. Speaking in Meghan, the Boswell verdict was great. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Gayla. But unfortunately, Evelyn is still gone. I can't imagine somebody like that doing something, killing your child and then just leaving them in a playhouse. Megan Boswell, just give her the needle, get it over with. I don't want to know how the rest of it carries out or how she'll serve out her sentence or where. Just give her the needle, get it over with. People like that, there's no reason for them to be here. Meep. You love the royal family. Unfortunately, the American royal family is pretty much nuts. What's left of the Kennedy family is, which is basically our, the American royal family. They're nuts. Bobby's son, John, the new health head of the health department of the United States of America, is freaking nuts. And I don't care what political party you're from. People within his own political party are like, "Oh my God, we never thought that he'd get nominated and he'd get through it all," but he did, because that's the world we live in. Put up anyone for anything at all, even if they're not qualified. Now I know Callie Lisa, she wasn't sentenced to death, but she deserves it. I watched, as much as I could, and kept up with the trial, and that, Evelyn's face. I just that picture, of her just seared into my brain. The smiling eyes, in her face, sitting there on that little table on the bench. How can you look at that and then do anything even remotely, vicious to a child like that? What could a child like that have ever done to incite such violence? Just makes me sick. And she did it, and then she tried to get away with it. Yeah, yeah, she did. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take off. Francie, um, I'm talking to just Francie because Francie normally asks me, "What am I making for breakfast?" or "What's for breakfast today?" So, Francie, this morning I'm making pancakes, homemade potatoes, which are russet potatoes that are cubed up, and then they have onion, bell pepper, and roasted red tomatoes in them, sun dried roasted tomatoes that I rehydrate. I have sitting in a bowl right now. I rehydrated them. And that's all mixed together in the potatoes, but I'm making pancakes. My son likes waffles, so I'll be making one waffle, and then scrambled eggs and bacon. But that's what's for breakfast today. So, didn't ask yet, but I figured I'd tell you since you normally do ask. I hope that everyone has a great day today. Stay safe, stay warm or dry, because apparently it's raining like hell in California in some places and in Cincinnati. So, depending on where you are, I hope that you have a wonderful day and make the best of it today. And I will see hopefully all of you tomorrow for trivia night. In the meantime, if I don't see you, you have a wonderful week ahead. And bye. You stay safe out there on the roads of America.